Vicenton. This is my wife Janine. We're here at SouthSide Skatepark, and we also have SouthSide Skate Shop just outside Beltway on Westheimer out west.
First of all, I just wanted to mention what an awesome place this is. Street course, bowl, mini ramp, and shop. But the reason why we're here is to tell the story, your story, what you both did for the community during Hurricane Harvey. Let's talk about your story and what inspired you to do what you did.
Well, Hurricane Harvey hit us here down in the Houston area, and we both went through Allison and Ike and have never seen anything like this ever. And to see so many houses and people that we know being affected by it just kind of hit us really close to home. Even our neighbors in our own neighborhood had flooding and damages to their home as well.
So for whatever reason, I mean, in the days leading up to Hurricane Harvey, I think a lot of Houston didn't really take it that seriously. In fact, everybody was out at the fight, and that's kind of when the trouble started. Everybody got stranded, and it just kept raining. I think we did it because we never lost power. Southside Skatepark didn't flood. Seemed like a near miss. We had like a lot of debris in the parking lot. Our home, just a little bit of water damage around a skylight in our bathroom. And then our Westheimer store didn't flood either, so we never lost power. We had Comcast, so we had internet. We were answering the phone. We weren't affected, but everybody, there were so many people that were. And pretty much just kind of we were approached by, Jim Thiebaud, like, hey, did you want to do something? And I was like, yeah, I want to do something. And he said, okay, well, I've got like my group, my like crew of artists over there at Deluxe, like working on art right now. We're going to send it over to you and let me know what you think. And that's when we saw the black and white, I cleaned my closet out for Houston. And without even thinking about it, just said, let's do it. That sounds great. Sure. Something that was an easy activation for kids to just kind of go to the back of their closet and pull some clothing, send it our way. Not being a disaster expert, we didn't know that we should have just asked for food, water, animal, baby, like that should have been the very first thing, and so in a 24-hour period, we just pivoted, and we pivoted well, and it worked out really well. So why did we do it? Because we were in a position to do it. We had no excuse. Why not?
And how did you get the word
out? Jim Thiebaud, really, he's friends with, Billy from Green Day and other just, he's shot aware. He has all these team riders. They have million plus following. Shane O'Neill. Next thing you know, we're seeing I Clean My Closet Out for Houston, and this, I Shot story and Shane O'Neill's story, and Green Day is posting it, and Voodoo Glow Skulls is posting it, and we didn't have to get the word out. Like, the word was out. The word was so out that it was like we had people come and volunteer with the sorting aspect of it, and they said it was a poster at their gym in LA, or hey, we got a call, man. It's crazy. My rep actually from Deluxe was driving into work, and he said like this radio station is called The Bone in the Bay Area, and it's like millions of people listen to this radio station. Like, I didn't think people really listen to radio, but I guess in your morning commute you're gonna listen to like the radio, and something FM, The Bone in the Bay Area. Hey, you want to help out Hurricane Harvey? You need to send your stuff to Southside Skatepark at 510 Iowa Street. And it was just like kind of shocking, how viral it had gone. Questlove reposted it, and that kind of was like a whole nother demographic of people.
Then the Real Housewives and Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop. It was all across the board as to who.
Yeah. So a lot of different types of people. It just wasn't through like skateboarding and action sports, and then like
but it all started
punk rock.
From
but it did start there. Yeah, it started in the skateboarding community, and I think people were really looking for some way to help, and no one was answering the phone here in Houston. So because we had a phone, because we had internet, I immediately threw up like a WordPress article on our site, SEO optimized it, Yoasted it, whatever, and it was easy to share and put out there and kind of let people read about it. And then I was also trying to put things on our story and give people a play-by-play so they could actually see their donations at work. And I was trying to like it was weird, like Antonio, you were a part of it, so you were here, probably every day, taking trucks out of here and stuff. We were all like learning on the fly, and I wanted some, I don't know what I'd call it, oh gosh, it was clarity or whatever. I felt like a lot of the donation places, like Big Box is what I call them, like your FEMAs and things like that, you may give, but you never really will see like your donations or your dollars at work. So if you gave to us, we were trying to get it on our story so you could see like the impact that you were making and provide some like clarity to your donation. There was a word for it at the time. I created my own little I was just crazy. We were crazy. So we just came up with our own
There was also some issues with other events or catastrophes where people were making donations and the funds were never getting spent on the victims. People were keeping it. It was also Red Cross wasn't going to necessarily spend all the money donated for Harvey to Houston. They were just going to kind of keep it. They were spending some of it here, but not all of it. And it's also hard to donate to companies when their CEOs are multimillionaires, and they draw salary from those donations.
So we were just trying to use social media to try to like get the word out, and then once the word was out, just really help people understand our situation or where the stuff was going, and show the people in need, show the people receiving. It was awesome. It was good.
Now let's go back to the first delivery. Let's just say a UPS.
Was the post office was the first delivery?
Really, the first delivery were locals.
Oh,
like our actual like skate scene all showed up, come swarming in with trash bags. You know what I mean? And like that first day, it was like overwhelming. We had the mini ramp all marked off with sections of like shoes, men's, women's, boys, girls, baby, animal. We weren't even sure of the categories. We were just going to figure it out. And then the locals stepped up too. We had like a whole row of tables down the middle of the mini ramp. People were showing up with donations and showing up to help. And then a guy, I don't see him very often, but this guy Larry Hanna had connected us with a guy, I think his name was Eric. I'm not for sure. He drives like a white box truck. And he was taking things over to, is it Tico, Tejano, something, Christian, I'm not sure. But they had an organized relief effort going on where they were helping families and they had the tents and everything. So as long as we could get things sorted and get them loaded up in his white box truck, he could take it to the Tejano Center over off Broadway. And that was kind of like our start. It was like a little foothold. And so we actually kind of moved through a lot of those donations the first day, but I don't think anyone anticipated what was going to happen next,
So when you saw that first truck and they dumped the whole thing at your location, what were your thoughts at that moment?
Wow.
Yeah. We needed to pivot. Hey, I hope our pivot will be as viral as our initial request.
It did. Our Amazon wish list went out. We received an amazing amount of diapers, baby clothes, hygiene items,
dog food,
pet food.
Yeah, food in general. Yeah.
So after a couple days, did you expect that type of response?
Oh man, I didn't know what to expect. When Jim Thiebaud hits you up and says you want to do something, his humanitarian projects are pretty strong and usually perform really well. So I anticipated it being intense. I don't think I anticipated the duration. I wasn't anticipating like being 3 weeks in, still receiving 400 plus parcels a day. Then like the volunteers had it. People were back to work. People were having to get back, and you're still having to come up with people who had time to give. And it was getting smaller. It was harder to like put together a team to come and lend a hand, But so that was a little bit of the crazy part, like the madness part, yeah.
Now, how about some of the deliveries you had from well-known skaters and companies, and how did you feel when you saw those come into your shop?
Felt great. It was overwhelming. Deluxe sent like 42 something boxes of, hoodies and like tees and blank tees, or just their whole sample closet of things that they were working on with, like maybe it's collaboration with Vans or whatever, just like tons and tons and tons of like all black authentics. I'm like, are these Tommy Guerrero shoes? I kind of think these are, like it was stuff like that. You felt great because the South Houston Intermediate School absorbed so much of that, and then right behind is like 3 pallets from NHS, and like there's all kinds of clothing and deliveries, and then you have Baker Boys. Baker Boys had noticed we had pivoted prior to sending their freight, so when their pallets arrived, there was like canned goods in there, and there was just some other things in there, like not just like clothing and stuff. But all that was new product, and that was really easy to apply. And you knew, like, everybody at South Houston Intermediate or working with the other schools, there's a group, there's community in schools. And so, Dickinson was hard hit, and they came, and in Pasadena right here, like, all that new product went out to those schools, and hopefully it was a lot of product that those kids would want to wear.
And they served as a distribution center for the area, and an issue that we personally had was we were hearing about distribution centers that required IDs, which we live in our business is in a predominantly Hispanic area. There are people here without IDs, and unfortunately they can't go and get products because they don't have something that states that they live in this particular zip code. So it was nice at the school that they didn't turn anybody away. They rationed it out. If somebody sent a 40-pound bag of dog food, they were putting it in Ziploc bags and handing it out.
And community and schools, they start by identifying the kid in their school who might be in need, and usually over time they develop a relationship with that kid, and then there's a family actually in need. And so it's not just kids' clothes that community and schools needs. But again, I didn't know anything about it. We had to learn all of that. Like, we didn't know where we were going to apply all this, and it was really intense, because psychologically hard, because it was a new job, no training, figure it out, and here's all of our hopes and dreams for your city. We're sending you all this support. Now what are you going to do with it? And it was hard because you wanted to apply it, but you were trying to apply it to someone that was going to take the ball and really get it to who it needs to go to. But yeah, like the IDs and the don't come back kind of mentality. Some of the big box relief initiatives here in Houston weren't. We were just shocked by that, because we are so overwhelmed with trying to find the need. We'll keep up with the need, and it was easy to find, but the magnitude was so big. You know what I mean? And I don't even know why I understand the rationing, but some of these people, they had no clothes, lost everything. A wardrobe would be no big deal. They should be given
some
clothes
people didn't
to wear.
have vehicles and couldn't drive to these distribution centers.
Or they wouldn't go because of the rumors of IDs. So then we'd have to actually work with community leaders and stuff, and smaller places like Antonio would take a truckload of stuff into the neighborhoods. People would go street by street some days, with a trailer and pop it open. It's like a little store, and people would just come out with need, right? They'd come out and toothbrush, toothpaste, deodorant, wipes, whatever, the baby formula food,
Dog food, cat food.
And we would get backpacks, and you'd be always psyched to get backpacks, so you could send them with backpacks, and it was so grassroots, but it was great,
It really was. So not only were you delivering assistance to Houston and surrounding cities, you also sent assistance to other cities. What was the furthest delivery that was made from this shop?
Porter, Texas. Porter, Texas received like a 21-foot trailer and I think like a 16-foot trailer. And I don't even know how we linked up with those people with those trailers. That was like maybe day 2 or 3, overwhelming, big. And now that area, they definitely needed clothes. That's where the storm actually came ashore. There was rumors of the whole grid, the whole power grid being just completely gone. There's rumors of they weren't going to have power down there for 3 months. They ended up getting the power up a lot faster than that. But there was like just total devastation. It was just rumored, and we were kind of hearing that from Rob Henson, who had put a lot of time and effort up here sorting, and he was in contact with the community down in Porter, Porter, Texas, and I wouldn't say as far as Corpus Christi, but anyway.
You also had to turn or redirect some of the deliveries coming to your place because it was just so much product.
There was a mattress store that was running like some kind of relief effort, tied to a discount, and they had a tractor trailer pointed at us, straight at us. We found a group, and we were able to redirect that tractor trailer.
Through the whole process, what do you think was one of the biggest issues that you had?
Finding places that would take clothing, because we did have so much clothing. Like that was one of the hardest things, was getting the clothing out.
Biggest issues. I don't know. Not trying to feel like you kind of made a mistake in even requesting clothing. Just psychologically being beat down by your initial request, and maybe had you requested food, water, baby, animal hygiene needs out the jump, that could have maybe done more. You know what I mean? So,
And you guys have kids, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So during this whole time, how was your family dealing with the extra hours being put in by the both of you?
Well, when the kids returned back to school after 2 weeks, I was up here pretty much from the time they went to school to the time they got home. But during the 2 weeks that they were at home, because school was closed, my parents had actually moved to Houston. They'd been here for a few months, and they were happy to watch them. And it actually was great for my parents because they felt like they weren't doing anything. They weren't, being hands-on, but it worked out.
Something they could do.
Because they helped. If they weren't able to watch our kids, we wouldn't have been able to be here all day, every day.
We just got lucky, I guess.
Yeah.
Like things were in place to afford us that time to apply to this effort,
But we did they did see the neighborhood, and they saw everybody's possessions out in the yards and everything.
Yeah.
So they kind of understood, like, what we were going through and what we were dealing with. And they did come up here one day to help with sorting.
Yeah.
So.
This like the neighborhood that the skate park's in, every single house was in the front yard.
Now, even with all the boxes, all the chaoticness from the hurricane, did it affect your business? Because I know when I would do the pickups, the mini ramp and your walkways were just filled with boxes.
We had skaters within like a couple days, just a few here and there, but I felt like people were coming and purchasing from us to be supportive, knowing that we weren't really open, knowing that we didn't have our normal business happening here. Like they were just coming to buy a board and just to kind of.
After a while, I mean, Hurricane Harvey is sort of, anytime we have a hurricane, it kind of knocks the city offline. But we worked hard to keep the park, functioning as normal for those people that did have that kind of time or did want to come and take just a break from whatever was going on in their lives or with their families at that time. So.
How long did it take the skate park to get back to normal?
Say about at least a month.
Yeah, 5 weeks. I think 5 weeks was when things kind of got back to normal. There was a smaller amount of donations around.
We were getting about 100 boxes a day or so.
130,
yeah.
And I could sort those myself. Eventually got to the point where I was sorting by myself.
Yeah. Would you do it again?
I would do it again because it felt good to help people, and the appreciation that they showed, truly helping people that were in need was a great feeling, and knowing that we can provide that because we had a facility to handle all the product was great. Wouldn't necessarily do the clothing again, but I would just ask for relief supplies and.
Yeah, if it was just food, water, hygiene, baby, animal, yes, we'd do it again.
Yeah.
If it was what it was again, I'd do it again. It was really, really hard, but it was really rewarding. Like looking back on it now, knowing what we did, knowing what we're capable of, pushing yourself further than as far as you've ever been pushed. I mean, I work hard here and there, in my life, and I survived it. I mean, sure, why not? Made a lot of people happy, had a lot of good times, a lot of good moments.
Met a lot of really cool people who came out of the woodwork to help.
Learned a ton about applying that kind of thing in our area. Learned a ton about groups trying to help the homeless, to the needy, to the hungry, to, just learn so much about that whole side of our city.
Well, thank you both for your committed service to our great city of Houston and to the great state of Texas. Do you have any last words or shout-outs?
I want to say thank you to everybody who came and helped us. Thank you, Antonio. You were one of the biggest helpers, I feel like, of taking things out and getting it to the community. And you were doing exactly what our goal was to do, was to like take it to the streets and get stuff into the right hands.
Yeah, we had a lot of support from a lot of brands and a lot of entities. People really kind of propped us up. Just shout. I mean, there's too many people to really name. I could start, but I'd be leaving off so many people. We had, I mean, volunteers in here on the phones, like a phone bank. It was crazy, you know. Just, you know, thanks to the city of Houston, and really thanks to all the folks that are actually doing this type of work every day, year-round. The people I work with through communities and schools, and the women's shelters, and the men's shelters, and just the schools, like right here, South Houston Intermediate. I mean, these people are fighting that fight every day, trying to help people, you know, be clothed, have good self-esteem, and do, you know, achieve what they're capable of, you know. And I don't know, man. Gotta thank them.